Welcome to Grima, where stories are not just told, they're uncovered. This is where forgotten memories resurface, shadows whisper behind closed doors, and the things you buried deep find their way back. Make sure you're somewhere safe. Turn off the lights. Put on your headphones. And let us take you on a journey. The first rule of living at the Elmsworth: never look at the roof after midnight. I learned this the hard way on July 12th, when I saw him standing perfectly still on the abandoned house across the street. Not breathing. Not blinking. Just staring straight up at the sky like a broken weather vane. That was disturbing enough, until I realized two terrible truths. One, according to town records, that roof collapsed in 1987. Two, the last person who saw him hanged himself in the attic. Now he's turned his head toward my window. And the rules won't save me anymore. I shouldn't have thrown the stone. That single, reckless act shattered the fragile boundary between my world and his. Now, as I crouch in the suffocating darkness of my apartment, every window barred, every door double-locked, I can still feel the weight of his gaze pressing against the walls. He knows I'm here. It began 3 months ago in the rotting heart of Blackhollow, a dying industrial town where the streetlights flicker like failing heartbeats. My apartment, a third-floor coffin in the rotting complex of the Elmsworth, faced an abandoned Victorian house across the street. Its windows were shattered eyes, its porch sagged like a broken spine, and the roof. The roof was his stage. The first time I saw him, I mistook him for a trick of the light. Midnight. Cigarette smoke curled from my lips as I leaned over the rusted balcony railing. Then, movement. A figure stood motionless on the peaked roof of the derelict house, his head tilted at an unnatural angle toward the sky. Not a burglar. Not a squatter. He wore a faded flannel shirt and jeans bleached by time. His hands hung limp at his sides, fingers slightly curled, like they'd once gripped something invisible. But his face. I never saw his face. The streetlight caught only the sharp line of his jaw, the hollow where his eyes should have been. Every night thereafter, he returned. Same position. Same unnatural stillness. I asked Mrs. Langford in 4B if she'd ever seen the man on the roof. That house. Been empty since the 80s when the Driscoll boy hanged himself in the attic. She chuckled, stirring her tea. Though old Mr. Greeley swore he saw shadows moving up there before he died. Dementia, poor soul. At the Blackhollow Gazette, the archivist showed me yellowed newsprint. Local teen found dead in apparent suicide, July 18, 1987. The photo showed emergency responders hauling a black body bag down the porch steps. But in the blurred background, barely visible, a shadow in the attic window. Last night, the moon was a bloated, jaundiced eye. The man stood on the roof as always, his devotion to the sky unbroken. Something snapped in me. I needed him to acknowledge me. A jagged piece of concrete sat on my balcony. Before reason could stop me, I hurled it. The crack echoed through the silent street. His head swung down. Not human. Not possible. His neck creaked like rusted hinges, rotating in slow, jerking increments until his eyes opened. 2 pinpricks of white light burned where pupils should have been. The air reeked of ozone and wet soil. My limbs locked as his lipless mouth stretched into a smile. You see me now, the voice slithered inside my skull. He's closer tonight. Not on the roof across the street, but on the fire escape outside my window. The stench of decay seeps through the glass. His fingernails scrape the pane in Morse code. Let me in. The power's been cut. My phone screen died an hour ago. Somewhere below, Mrs. Langford's terrier won't stop howling. And the scratching won't stop. Scritch. 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 I press my back against the bathroom door, a steak knife slick in my sweat-slick palm. The town clock strikes 3 a.m. The scratching stops. A wet thud lands on the balcony. "I caught what you threw," the voice gurgles. "Now it's my turn." The thing on the fire escape presses its palm against the glass. The skin splits like wet paper, revealing blackened bone beneath. I watch in paralyzed horror as the fingers elongate, stretching, cracking, until they're spider-leg thin. Tap. 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 Each impact leaves a greasy smear that bubbles like acid. The stench of rotting meat floods my nostrils. I gag, but the sound catches in my throat when the whispers begin. "You looked when no one else would." The voice isn't coming from outside anymore. It's inside the walls, vibrating through the pipes. "Now we can't look away from you." The steak knife slips from my sweat-slick hand. That's when I notice. The bathroom mirror is fogging up. But I'm not breathing. The newspaper archive said, "suicide." But the coroner's report I stole from Blackhollow Memorial tells a different story. Subject's cervical vertebrae crushed inward. Hyoid bone missing. Eyes removed post-mortem with surgical precision. The last photo shows the attic where they found him. Scratches cover the floorboards, not random, but letters carved over and over. He watches from above. And on the rafters. Handprints. Small ones. Child-sized. The power returns at dawn. My phone explodes with notifications, 12 missed calls from Mrs. Langford. When I stumble downstairs, her door hangs ajar. The terrier's whimpers lead me to the kitchen. The fridge door swings open. Her body is folded inside like origami, head twisted 180 degrees. In her rigor mortis stiff hands, a Polaroid of me sleeping, taken through my bedroom window. Scrawled in blood on the linoleum. A gift for the watcher. The town records mention Blackhollow's first settlers. How they built the Elmsworth atop a Native American burial mound. How children went missing every July. How the townsfolk would leave dolls on their roofs during storms. Not dolls. Effigies. Tonight's storm rages as I climb onto my roof with shaking hands. The watcher stands on the abandoned house, arms outstretched to the lightning. Rain washes Mrs. Langford's blood from my skin as I place the terrier's collar at the edge of the roof. The wind howls one word. More. The Driscoll house door creaks open at my touch. Every surface is covered in dust, except the attic ladder. The rungs gleam, recently used. Above me, something scurries. The flashlight reveals them. Dozens of child-sized handprints in dried blood. And on the far wall, a message written in what looks like charcoal. He lifts us up to see the stars. The floorboards groan. I look up just as the attic door slams shut. On the far wall, a message. Charcoal. Stars. The floorboards groan. I look up just as the attic door slams shut. On the far wall, a message. Charcoal. Stars. I look up just as the attic door slams shut. Charcoal. Stars. I look up just as the attic door stars. Just as the attic door stars. Just as the attic door 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 Thank you for listening to tonight's story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to help Grima bring more chilling tales your way. Every like you leave is a candle lit against the dark. We'll see you in the next story. And remember, don't look into the mirror after the lights go out.